That's okay. Don't panic,
All the
Adrian.
way?
Did you see it?
Adrian, don't panic.
All right, now, so anyway, that's that one. Question, what is this on USDA, residents under 18 years old, disabled, or full-time students? Not sure that question is not making sense to me.
What number is it?
Number 155?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I got it right.
Well, I got it right.
We just all just press pause.
I'm not sure what I did.
I don't think it printed out fully, but yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we all put.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was after my second glass of scotch, so. On, did you, I don't know if you guys knew about this, let me see here. On USDA loans, there are deductions for medical expenses. So, you guys know how that works?
How do you document that? I haven't actually used that. I've talked to people that be like, you can do this, but I haven't actually used it.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. You have to be 62 or over. Okay. And it's either occurring or you're anticipating to occur within the next 12 months. These are things like, and they're not covered by insurance. So these are things that the person's paying for. They're not covered by insurance.
Always you have to be 62 or older?
Right.
So kids' medical expenses never count?
No.
So, how do you anticipate, like, if they're just about moving into a house and you're going through the loan process, I mean, how do you anticipate those?
Well, let's say that, for example, that the person has to do some type of treatments, and he has to pay out of pocket for those. It's not covered by insurance. The portion of it's not covered by insurance. Say if some of his chemotherapy, 50% is not covered by insurance, right?
Yeah.
So that 50% he's paying can be used as the deduction. So dental expenses, prescription medications, medical premiums. And actually, I think this needs some clarification right here because it says it's not covered by insurance, but you can actually include medical insurance premiums. So that's interesting. Eyeglasses, hearing aids, home nursing care, monthly payments on major medical bills. So those are some things that that can be used as a deduction for medical.
But the deductions must exceed 3%.
Right. The key thing on that, yes. So the, I'm just trying to find out where that page went. The bottom line on this is that the deductions, I'm sorry, the expenses have to be greater than 3% of their gross income. So let's say that people make $50,000 a year. You multiply that by 3%, it's $1,500. If their medical expenses are sub $1,500, then you can't use the deduction. They have to be over $1,500. And the difference of what the expenses are less the deduction is the only thing that can be used. So before we pre-approve anybody with this type of situation, we have to check this very carefully.
And how would we verify?
Well, we know what their income is, but like, let's say that, in this case, so let's say that they pay for hearing aids. Well, hey, Scott, I pay $500 a month for hearing aid. Okay, well, that's $6,000.
Right.
I make $50,000 a year, and so you'll be able to deduct, $4,500.
Right.
So send me a copy of your monthly statement for the hearing aid, and you should be good to go.
But I mean, it's actually asking the question, do you have medical expenses, knowing their age?
Yeah.
And then asking, hey, do you have any medical expenses that we could use?
Right. So, yeah. Let's see here. FHA manual underwrite loans, ratios are capped at 43%. Can they go to 50%?
Which
Adrian,
True.
they can?
Yes.
Okay, what's required? So you're saying they can go to 50 or 43?
They can go to 50.
Okay, what's needed? Is there anything required or no?
This is with 2 compensating factors.
Okay. And what type of compensating factors do you think those would be?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What is a compensating factor?
So something that strengthens the loan.
Maybe additional months of reserves,
rental and
additional trade lines.
In this case, yeah, it's Steve, you have any ideas or thoughts on that?
About the 50%?
Well, I mean, yeah, what, it's asking for 2 compensating factors to strengthen the loan.
I didn't know the compensating factors, or I knew the 50%. I don't know what it really means by the 2 compensating factors.
Okay, yeah, this is important that you really know what compensating factors are because it comes up a lot. When you're trying to go over 50% on debt ratios, you're trying to go on expanded ratios for manual underwrite. Comp factors for this particular situation is going to be reserves, or if the payment on the house, the new house, is less than $100 than the current rent. So if the new payment's $1,050 and the current payment's $1,000, you're good. But if the new payment's $1,200 and the current payment's $1,000, well, you're over the $100 allowance, so you can't use that as a compensating factor. The other thing that you can do, and I send out an email about this, is the with the VA adjusted housing allowance. If you have a net disposable income that's on that matrix, then after all your bills are paid, if you have that disposable income left over, that can be a compensating factor. So, because sometimes you may come into a situation where, like Joe has a loan that has the situation. Real important thing right here, for FHA foreclosures on credit less than 5 years, how do we verify the eligibility date?
we need a copy of the last recording date.
So Adrian, tell me, this happened to you.
I was trying to find the question on here.
Well, like let's say you see like foreclosures on credit, right? And it's
yeah.
less than 5 years old.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, what should be the immediate thing that you do if you see a foreclosure less than 5 years old on credit?
D-transfer.
D-transfer.
What I think of. And depending, like I've been dealing with FHA.
Call
one,
FHA
so-
Connection.
Yeah. So
And-
checking on Kavers to
Right.
see when the claim was made.
Right.
When the claim was paid.
Right.
And most of the time there's still a claim on there, but it doesn't match up with the deed, so then you have to go back and clear it, and you actually have to, when you do that, it has to be, I don't know, there are different levels, I guess, so you have to actually get that,
Right.
that cleared.
So if you issue a pre-approval, Steve, and is it possible that that even though the credit report shows it went into foreclosure, 4 years ago, can that come back and bite you? What happens?
Well, now what I do is if ever they had a foreclosure, and I always want to see the trustee's deed first before I issue the pre-approval, because that bit me in the ass.
Yeah, it's happened to me several times, and so the thing is that yes, what happens is that even if it shows on credit that it went into foreclosure 4 years ago, what happens is after that there's a transfer of the title from the homeowner back to the bank, and FHA wants to know when did that happen and when was the actual claim paid out. You see, and so when you call FHA Connection, they're going to tell you when was this claim paid and when is this guy eligible for another loan. Okay, so and we're thinking, oh well, the credit report says it was 4 years ago, and we know FHA guidelines is 3 years or more for foreclosure. But all this stuff happened outside of the credit report. So I'm just saying, so to make sure that your deal sticks, you have to check this. Like you had one where I think you went back and forth with them, or the borrower did, and they got it released.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she called them like 10 times. They got tired of her, and I also sent them the deed to show them on there. This is the date. This is what it says. And the combination of me bothering them and then her bothering them, they're just like, "Don't call us again. Just
Wow.
don't call us again." They literally said, "Do not call us again." So got it done. Yeah.
Well done.
And then also, I know that I was talking to Danny about one. Even though, like, if you're looking on credit report, and you always have to ask about foreclosures, always, because I don't know if we all ask that for sure, but it might not show on their credit report, but they actually might be on the title. And so then he ran into a problem with that. So when we were going back and forth.
And there's records that people can have as well. So like I had a borrower and they somehow had a record that he had foreclosed on a government loan like 10 years ago.
Yeah, and it
wasn't
might
on
not
his
show
credit or
on.
anything.
Yeah, it might not show on the credit report. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, but are you talking about through Cavers?
I'm not sure how they did. They just said that the underwriters, when it went to USDA, they came back with a condition saying there was like a government foreclosure, and you had to write up like a letter of explanation about it.
Okay, I mean, Cavers would be, I mean, probably one of the things that would come up on. Yeah, somebody can still be on title, and so that's, yeah, you do want to find out about that too. I've seen that happen many times as well. So, okay, well, no, I think these are some good things that we went through. We went through a lot of the good meat tonight, some of the, I think, good questions. Is there anything that, we're gonna finish going through the rest of this, but is there anyone has any questions about what we went through tonight? Or want to discuss anything?
Really, this is really good. Like
Yeah.
even the explanations, I learned a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And all this is recorded. You can always go back and watch it many times.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm telling you, the repetition of you getting this down over and over and over is gonna, you know, I mean, look, I can tell you this from when he started, and when you look at when Steve started, and like when you guys started, we've literally reduced the learning curve. You know, and so I mean, what's happening now is that we're building a faster, stronger loan officer. You see, and so, but it's up to you to make sure that you really understand this stuff. You know, because you know your ability to understand it is going to determine how well that you do. And so, don't feel bad if you make mistakes. Feel bad if you're not challenging yourself and progressing. Mistakes are okay; those are clues that what you're doing is not working. But you do have to push yourself to greatness, though. You know, and so, of course, you're not going to get all this down in one night. But the fact that we got guys now that can even think about closing $1 million in 2 months, of being here 3 months is, I don't think you could do that anywhere else. I don't think. I mean, I haven't done the research, but I think that's unprecedented. And so, you know, but I can tell you that the people that are doing that, it's because they want it real bad too. You know, we can give you all this stuff, but you know, it all depends on how bad that you want it. You know, and so anyway, I think understanding how to structure deals, getting this down. We keep hitting that with learn how to get better at selling. We focus on these two core things: structuring and selling, and you guys are gonna go to the top, man. You're gonna fly. So, but you gotta meet me there halfway, though. You know. So we can give you all this data and all this information, but it's at the end of the day, is what are you gonna do with it? You know, it's a lot of information. It really is. It's a lot. Actually, we haven't even. We're making some good headway. These are some of these things are real important. That cash to close piece is very important. Make sure when you start next week talking to leads, or when you start talking to leads next week, that you guys are having a conversation about that, because that's been one of the biggest pitfalls with loan officers, is not having that cash to close conversation.
That was my biggest pitfall.
It was one of mine too. not even talking about it. You
That's
know,
why you saw the email, all of my loans are pushed to December.
not all of them, but I
Or
mean,
most of them
Yeah, yeah,
pushed to December
yeah,
because of stuff like that.
yeah. And so, but the thing is, what you'll do is you'll learn. You'll learn that when January rolls around or February, that's not going to happen, because now you understand that and you have control of the situation.
Mm.
You see, and so so that way, you'll have that high volume for the months to come, because you've gotten in front of that, and so. But yeah, when I was a loan officer, that's something I neglected for a long time too, and I had to fix it. I had to get better.
Now, what do you mean by not going over cash to close?
Hmm?
What do you mean by that?
Well, okay, you pre-qual the borrower, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, he's pre-approved, out there shopping. He goes under contract, and we have no plan for where the money's going to come from. What are you doing with the money?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's not just do they have the funds available,
Yeah.
but kind of the makeup
Where
of how
what
the
are you
funds
doing?
got there,
Right.
and if
And
they have deposits
sourcing
over,
it,
Yeah.
sourcing
up
it.
front, because that's where I've had troubles too, where they're like, yeah, we definitely have this money,
Yeah.
and you trust them, and then it turns out it's coming from some random.
Well, I have.
Like I've had people tell me, yeah, I got it, it's in my account, and you're like, okay, but you get their bank statement, they
Yeah.
just cash like got a payday loan that just went in.
Two that I dealt with today. One, they kept all their money in the safe, and they, when they decided, because they weren't going to, they didn't want to purchase a home until January. Then they get a call. I get a call saying, oh, we want to buy a home, and they literally grabbed all that cash and then just dumped it into the bank account. So it's like, okay. And then there's another one where a lot of the loan was completely clean, but the guy was taking his paycheck. He was cashing his paycheck from Wells Fargo, then depositing that cash, but keeping like $200, $300. And he would use that $200, $300, whether it was to pay his part of rent or to even to pay for the appraisal or stuff like that. But the underwriter, like Syed and Josh were telling me, the underwriter's going to look at the paycheck and the deposits, and it's not going to be
match.
yeah. And so now it's what are we going to do now? And so now he's going to have to write an explanation. We tried a couple different things, but ultimately he's going to have to write an explanation for every single deposit, as to this is my check, this is how much was deposited and how much, or where did this money go.
Yeah, you had to do that for the
Yeah.
past
He's
2
going
years or something.
to, he's going to do that, or he's already started doing that since 9/30. So
Since 9/30.
September 30th is when he's going back. So
Mm-hmm. Well, imagine if you didn't have that conversation up front with somebody.
yeah.
And then you have a 30-day close date. So.
And Josh was telling me that's significantly lowers the probability of this loan. He said this loan was gold, and then seeing that it drops it significantly.
Wow.
So
What, for closing on time or closing period?
in closing, yeah, and he said that it's up to the underwriter, but we're gonna have a hard time pleading that case. So it's all right.
But here's the thing, he cashes his check,
Mm-hmm.
and then, so the only thing he spends is $300, he keeps the rest in the account?
Yeah, so but it's always different. So sometimes he'll keep 400, sometimes get 300, sometimes he'll deposit the whole thing, sometimes he'll, one time he just deposited $87 and he kept the $1,700.
It's too erratic. It's just
Yeah,
all
it's
over
just
the
all
place.
over the place, and so there's no pattern. And so,
Okay, but does he have fund season in his account?
he has today his check today put him over the amount needed to close,
Mm-hmm.
and so
But when is the close date?
it was the first, December
Okay.
1st. Yeah, he was the guy that I told you that he pushed it one day back. That way he can just wait an extra month to pay his first payment, instead of or I told Josh that, sorry, instead of November 30th and having to pay January 1st, his first mortgage payment, he did December 1st. That way he could wait until February 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so
Oh, so you could skip 2 months of
Yeah.
payments, yeah. But I'm just thinking that if he has the, okay, so if he has the, I'm thinking with the LOE, he's using his own funds for down payment.
Mhm.
What's his credit score?
I think 630s FHA.
Are you staying with that score, or are you gonna go over 640, or what do you?
I can work with him over 640, but I knew it was over the 620
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the co-borrower, she does that all the time, but she has like a son who gives her cash for, and so it's like all over. Hers is just all sorts of fucked up.
Mhm.
And so,
Um,
and so if I would have, if I would have gotten that and seen it, immediately, then I could have, at least prevented all this crap from happening.
what about if it was structured as a gift?
Well, so they were getting a parcel, or they're getting a gift for a parcel of the down payment from their grandmother. And what Josh suggests is that the grandmother does the whole gift at closing, does the full amount at closing, and then after it closes, then they just give her.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and she said no.
Oh, she said no.
Yeah.
I didn't get that sentence.
I mean, this is the one I was telling you that
God.
earlier I alluded to, that that someone wasn't willing to do the bank statement, give the gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, person wasn't
Okay.
willing to do the bank
Okay.
statement, but she has $30K in her bank.
Mhm.
So, but she didn't want us seeing anything because it's personal stuff. And then that's when I told him, look, it's either your grandma does it or you're out. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean it's. Does he have anyone else that can do the gift besides the grandmother?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Hey man, how's it going? So no one else.
Oh, the way that he got the money was he got his bonus from work, and so that accounted for about $3,000, and then his grandmother's giving him $2,000, and so that put the $5,000.
But she's gonna have to show her bank statement for the 2,000.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, but
So-
she didn't want to. For some reason, she refused to, and she refused to pay the full amount at closing.
Okay.
And then pay. I don't know what her reservations were, but he called me the day and he was like, yeah, look, I tried talking to her for I don't know how long, and she's not having it.
So at the end of the day, she's not providing the bank statement.
Oh, she provided the bank statement already.
Okay.
But she's not going to do the full gift amount at closing.
But his down payment, you said, is coming from his bonus.
Yeah. Bonus and paychecks. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're using the bonus, I mean that could be documented though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the bonus that you see on his bank, like that amount is documented. Maybe what we can do is, would this be eligible if his grandmother pays or gives the money to the bank? Because his father owns the company, right? The company he works for. And so if the grandmother gives the money to the father, and then the father gives another bonus, but wouldn't he have to provide a reason that he's getting two bonuses, or?
Yeah. I mean, he could. An explanation. That might be a better way to go.
He's a great son.
Yeah. Top producer.
Producer.
Extra bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a way to go. As a bonus, because bonus might be easier than.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, I would get with Saeed on that.
Okay.
See what he says. But I think that's a good idea.
If the but then if the grandmother takes the $2,000 out of the account for, his name is Don. If she takes the $2,000 out of the account for Don, and then gives it to, I don't know if she'd be willing to give.
Well, why? I mean, it's just why doesn't the business owner just give his son the bonus and then they can deal with it later?
Yeah, that was our first initial conversation was about doing it through a bonus, and the father wasn't willing to give that large amount of a bonus, and so he said, "I'll give you your end of the year's bonus early." I said, okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that he cashes his check and then doesn't deposit the full amount, but we have an explanation. And it's possible that could work. I see their concern.
Yeah.
I still think that, I mean, people have a right, I see that his side too, he has a right to do that with his money.
Yeah, and that's what they're,
Yeah, I see
pissed
it.
about. But I told them that it's a government loan, and that the underwriters, they always err on the constant side.
Mhm. Well, you know what I'd like you to do? Could you email a loan scenario and just ask them that question? If
Okay.
somebody is, email the underwriter and ask them if somebody is getting an FHA loan with this situation and they cash their check and only deposit, sporadically
Mhm.
certain amounts of their check, is that acceptable, or what would we need to
Mhm.
make it acceptable?
Okay. Yeah, I do
Let's check with the underwriter and find out. Maybe there's something we can get.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, because even today when I told him that he's going to need to write an explanation, he's pretty quick. He already did it, and so Syed is going to be taking a look at it.
Yeah, but just do it as a secondary. Do you mind
Okay.
just and copy me on it? Yeah, I wanna. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up. So very good session tonight.